All right, hello viewers. Today it is the Lethal Nonsense podcast back at you with another episode. There is me, Tristen, and my co-host Lance.
Hello.
So, yeah, we've been a little bit inactive, unfortunately, but you know, hopefully with the
It's
holidays coming around, that will change.
it's 2020. I think everyone's been inactive
Yeah,
in some way or another.
yeah, 2020. 2020 kind of sucks if I'm being honest. It sucks for everybody.
Kinda. Been a complete. It's been nothing except horrible. It's just been nothing but death and horror and terrible all around.
Yeah, and it's not like we even have like movies or, great TV shows coming out. Like for the most part, it's been pretty dead, even with gaming too.
And I would like to say one thing before we get started into the topics. Why did we mention Cyberpunk last time? Because as soon as we did, like 2 or 3 days later, it got delayed again.
Yeah, I was like so upset.
So let's try not to mention it. I'm not even gonna release. I'm not even gonna say the new release date or anything because it might get delayed again. So
It'll
let's just
probably get delayed by the time we release this podcast.
yeah. So I would just say let's just swiftly move on. Get that out of our minds.
Okay. Unfortunately, I've been a little bit too busy. Whenever it comes to uploading the podcast, I've been slacking on that, unfortunately, but that will change. I was planning on uploading 3 episodes this week, but I recorded one and the audio quality just wasn't there, so I'm deciding not to upload that one, unfortunately. But the one I did before this one definitely will get uploaded. So this is going to be Lethal Nonsense number 3, or our third podcast. So, and then I also plan on. I'm still trying to figure out how I can build an RSS feed so I can upload it to Spotify as well, so we can also get viewers on Spotify. So, if that's how you would prefer to listen to it, I'm working on that. So that's just real quick, podcast updates. Anyways, let's go ahead and jump into our first topic and not mention anything about CD Projekt Red. We're just gonna go into what exactly we've been up to, in the meantime.
I have
Uh,
been playing a CD Projekt Red game. I've actually been dabbling in and out of Witcher 1 and 3. I've been going back to really the original game and how bad it's aged. I mean, it came out and you know years ago at this point, and it's undoubtedly aged, but there's still merit to be found in it. And you know my opinion of Witcher 3.
yes, I do. I still need to play it. Actually, I need to install. Yeah, speaking of what we've been playing, I need to add that to that list. Because actually, I feel bad because my friend had bought it for me. He bought that in DMC, the reboot, the one that everybody shits on.
And you played that over Witcher 3.
Because I played it and I was like, "Yo, I suck at this game." So I was on the easiest difficulty, so I just kind of stopped because I was really bad
You
at
were
it.
just playing on just the story.
Yeah, I was, and I was getting my ass whooped. So after a certain point, I wanted to play other games, so I uninstalled it. But actually, I might get started on that next week because I'm gonna have a little bit of time. I
I
mean,
am
hope.
getting as much done back into where I was on consoles because I am now playing it on PC. I want to try to catch up at least get to Skellige before Cyberpunk comes out. Goddamn, I mentioned it again. Um, but just quickly saying, I want to get to that point because once that does come out, that's taken all my time.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because I mean, once it does come out, I mean, I'm hoping that I won't be gone for a month or several months. If that is the case, then I'm definitely gonna be playing the shit out of Cyberpunk. And I
Yes,
honestly,
I'm going to be as well.
so yeah, I didn't actually. I should have looked into this before. But did they say it was gonna be like co-op or was it gonna be multiplayer? It was gonna be like PvP ish.
I I believe it's going to be PvP.
Oh
I
damn.
have not looked into anything about the multiplayer. All I know is there apparently was multiplayer. They could have scrapped that entirely. I really don't know.
I really
The
hope
only
not.
thing that really interests me is the single player. It's the main reason. It's being made is just big, game for the next game that they released after. It was basically the first other game after Witcher, and that's exciting.
Nobody plays video games for the story. Are you kidding me?
Hey, John Romero, settle it down.
But yeah, that will definitely be taking up all my time as soon as that comes out. Actually, wait, not gonna mention that right now.
Yeah, I'm not gonna mention the release date because, last time we did, bad things happened.
Yeah, literally by the time this podcast is uploaded, it's probably gonna have changed again. But so actually backtracking, what I've been playing recently, as of yesterday, I started getting back into Black Ops. I'm not a big Call of Duty fan, but I did enjoy Black Ops like a lot back in the day, especially the campaign. I got into it just because I don't know. Recently, I've kind of been reading a little bit about the Vietnam War and that there's like a few missions where it takes place in Nam, or a few, or like a lot. I can't even fucking remember. It's been a while since I've actually played it. But there's that, and then also I was playing Mafia a while ago, but I kind of like dropped that, unfortunately. I need to get back into that.
I uninstalled it after it kept crashing. It just got too much of a headache to play.
Oh, really?
I don't know if there was just something wrong with because I bought the game and everything, and installed it, and it just did not want to work for me. It played fine, it played smooth, but there was just sometimes the games just fucking crash, and I just got annoyed.
Yeah, I would kind of just say fuck it too. I mean, I don't blame you. It's sad though that a game that's like a classic did that though.
Yeah, I still have I have the original on GOG.
That's good. And you said that one was hard as shit, didn't you?
It can be really difficult, yes.
Was it? Oh yeah, and then the other game I've been playing, was playing for a bit because the DLC came out recently, was Outer Worlds. Because because DLC. And also I just love like Obsidian's games. Like, well, I'm not gonna say I follow them like hardcore, like religiously, because they've produced a lot of games that I don't really follow. But there's two in particular, in addition to Outer Worlds, that they've produced that I'm just like, I fucking love these games. I mean, we obviously know Knights of the Old Republic 2, although unfortunately that was unfinished.
Have you ever played the Mass Effect games?
No, I haven't, and I actually do want to.
You should. I mean, if you have Game Pass, which I thought you did, EA, that EA Pass thing, whatever it's called, is available, and I think the Mass Effect games are owned by EA, so you should be able to install them.
Actually, I might add that to my list of games I'm gonna play soon.
Just give it a try, because if you like BioWare, you might really like them. Or you can actually do what I did, and I just flat out bought the trilogy.
Yeah, actually, I did enjoy Knights of the Old Republic 1, even if my love for the second one kind of overshadowed that. And I actually have been, because for years I was like, yeah, I really can't get into the MMO, the Old Republic MMO, and I kept saying that, but also I didn't have anybody to play it with. And when it's like GTA, like I don't play GTA online by myself. So, that's kind of why I asked you the other day. I was like, yo, you be down to play some Old Republic?
Yeah, I remember playing it back in the day and getting basically to the end and realizing, oh, there's nothing to do. But that was also years ago. That was when it was still new. And I've heard they've, made some pretty big improvements. And I hope they did, because that end game was boring.
I don't know, just MMOs have never really been my thing personally. It's just because it's they're free. A lot of them are free to play, but it's like you basically have to pay if you really want to get the good shit, and I don't like that.
To be fair, a lot of them even for me, are a hard sell as well. I mean, the only MMO I stuck around for a long time was Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah.
And even I have played that in about a year. I just haven't had time.
Yeah, and I do get why they have it to where like, basically it's like you pay and you get all the good stuff. That's because well, because they're obviously like if it's free to play, so they got to make money somehow. So I'm not
Mm-hmm.
ignorant to that fact. It's something that for me personally, it's like I have many subscriptions. I have a
I
Xbox,
think
Netflix.
I think Knights of the Republic. Is it? I think is it free to play?
It's free to play, yeah.
Because I remember it not being. Because when I played, I thought I bought a membership for it.
I think it's always been free to play, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know. I could be misremembering something.
Man, isn't that kind of sad though? How like BioWare went from having these critically acclaimed games to Anthem.
To me, it just when I heard Anthem, what it was going to be was basically a Destiny. I was
That's what it
I
looked
was
like.
worried. Say at least I was very worried.
Yeah, because I saw the trailer. I'm like, I mean, yeah, it looks kind of cool, but like you said, it's just kind of a Destiny clone in a way. Is also what it looked like to me. I mean, I thought it was cool that I saw these people flying, but then I heard so many bad things upon its release. It was kind of crazy. Everybody was like, "This game's buggy as shit."
From the bricking of apparently it was bricking consoles to glitchy, unresponsive missions to missions that flat out wouldn't complete.
Yeah,
It just was a myriad of problems that just turned a lot of people off to the game. I personally never got into it because I had my fill of Destiny.
yeah, and like Destiny's one of them games I had a hard time. Like no matter how hard I tried, I've always tried to get into it, but I couldn't. Several times, and friends are like, "Oh, you gotta try it out, you gotta try it out," and then like I'm stuck there playing by myself, and I always get crushed too. On top of that, especially whenever I try to play with my friends, it's just not for me. I hope I at least hope with Bungie that their upcoming game, I think it's called Matter, which there's very little that's said about it right now. They're trying to because actually, there's not much for gaming news, but a lot of the stuff I do see is Destiny. When I'm like, hold up, ain't this like a dying game? Are they trying to save like a dying game? I mean,
I
Destiny.
believe a new expansion just came out,
Okay,
so
I
it
mean.
makes sense.
Okay, yeah, I guess I'm actually kind of uninformed. I didn't think it was a new expansion. I thought they were just trying to. Well, I don't know. Like Destiny 2 is weird because I've had a lot of friends say, "Oh yeah, I love it. I don't really want to play anything else," and then they'll just be like, "Oh yeah, I stopped playing Destiny 2." But it's so they flip flop with it, and it's weird. I didn't think it was doing terrible, but I mean they went free to play, so that definitely does say something at least.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that the future of Bungie is at least good. I mean, it's not because it's not like I want to see Bungie fail. They made my favorite FPS of all time. You know what I mean? So I will always wish them well. I'd say there's probably only one game company that I just kind of hope does not necessarily do so well, but and it seems that nothing is really gone their way in recent times. But a topic for another time.
So going back into what games and stuff. Have you been playing much of Fallen Order?
Oh shit, no, actually I have not. I actually do need to before my Game Pass runs out.
So you can try it to see if you actually do want to eventually buy it.
I don't foresee myself buying it. I'm not gonna pay for it. I can say that.
You don't want to support EA. I mean, I don't blame you.
It's not EA. Well, because I bought UFC 4 and I bought UFC 3. I don't necessarily. I wouldn't. I mean, I don't like EA, but if anything, it's more the Disney factor than the EA.
See,
Actually,
I
should.
just EA is just well, EA is EA, and EA is going to do very EA things.
Well, they have to fix themselves, especially after after how much stock they lost after what was it? Was Battlefront 2, right?
It was Battlefront 2, and the Battlefield shit that they kept screwing up, like people were getting pissed off or, moving on to other games, and it just shows that they're years behind in the times.
Yeah, they really are. And then it's like they don't think about the consumer. They just think about like their eyes are just money signs basically. But the only redeemable factors. It's kind of funny too, because it's almost like a game company that I know they lost stock. I don't know like how much they recovered, but I do remember. So like basically they were going downhill, and then at the same time Disney's going downhill with Star Wars, and it's funny that Star Wars basically right now is relying on a failing game company.
A failing game company and a show that is doing very well, but I don't think it's doing well enough to save the entire franchise.
And then on top of that, like, nothing's really getting made right now because
Well, there is two reasons for that. One, we do usually go a few years without something Star Wars, especially nowadays. And two, of course, the state of the world right now.
yeah, that's what I was getting at more so. So it's like, because we're still waiting on a Witcher season 2, and that's the whole reason we haven't gotten that. And then, it's gonna be hard for them to actually. It's gonna be hard for anybody to do anything. Like if video games are suffering, like you think about it, video games, it's not like you're having to move set pieces and go out and do things.
Yeah, you
So
don't
I
have to
mean,
make a set, but they do have to get together to coordinate what's going to be done at a certain time, because you can't if you have two people working on modeling, doing the same model, they're going to get in the way of each other, and they're not
right? Yeah,
they have to
exactly.
coordinate what's done and the way it's done, and that could be just as much hard work. Um, I would suspect. I'm hoping next year we'll hear something new and that's going to be going on with Star Wars.
I mean,
As long as the Sims isn't, the sentence doesn't start with the Sims, because that ticked off a lot of people.
Oh yeah, that's right. They did. I have that game too. That they
You should be
did.
ashamed of yourself.
I've always it's as much shit as like I hate's a strong word. I just like the company's practices. I don't necessarily dislike their products entirely. Because it's sad because they do come out with some good products. They just mess it up by throwing in microtransactions.
Well, that's why I actually was willing to buy Fallen Order. I fucking bought the game twice. I bought on Xbox, and then the Xbox decided I want to die.
Yeah.
And I bought, I instead of just going out and buying another Xbox, I just bought the game on PS4, and that's when I beat it. And afterward, I think now that my brother has the PS4 in his room at the moment, I don't even think it's installed. But it's one of those interesting. It's one of those interesting games that it's better than it's the perfect game we needed at this time, because they needed to get a good game out to show that they weren't complete failures with the Star Wars franchise.
Only like 75 to 80%.
And they had to play it very safe. They had to play it very consumer friendly, because if they didn't, I don't know what would have happened.
Well, that's why they handed it off to another company too.
Oh yeah, Respawn was a very interesting company at first. I didn't expect them of all companies, but they handle it well enough. It's a good game. Is it going to hold up to the classics, like the classic Star Wars games? Maybe not. Probably not, but it's as good as it needs to be.
Yeah, for the time, especially whenever, because there was that whole dark age where we had so many great Star Wars games coming out, like one hit after another. I mean, of course, there were some that weren't so great.
Well, yeah, there's always going to be. We had, let's see, the early 2000s. I would say early to late 2000s was a great time, and then after, I would say around the last good. I would say the last great Star Wars game was Force Awakens, and after that, It just went downhill.
Wait, they came out with like an actual game for that, or was it like a Lego game?
The Force Awakens. Force Unleashed. I mean, sorry.
Oh, I was about to say. Yeah, no, that was pretty much the only. It was that and the Lego games. That was really the only Star Wars games that were coming out at the time, and that kind of.
Yeah, and I have a love-hate relationship. I mean, to be honest, the new Star Wars Lego game looks pretty good.
Right.
I think it's the Skywalker trilogy or something like that. It's like Skywalker Saga. It looks really good. It's gonna actually have completely different gameplay to what the original Lego Star Wars had. And that's great. I hope it does very well. And I hope it's really good. But there are always people who don't really care for the Lego aesthetic.
I personally never minded it, but
I didn't either.
I don't mind it like whenever I just want to play for fun. I mean, it's like I always had a blast in those games.
It's a very kid friendly. We just want to, take it. Basically, take it easy, play the game, and relax kind of game.
Yeah, yeah. Anytime that I didn't feel like screaming my head off at Halo or stuff like that, that's whenever I would play those types of games. But there's also times too where I'm just like, well, most of the time really, and where I'm like, I want a good story, and that's where like as soon as the 360 came out, like that's where Star Wars is really lacking in quality video games. And that was pretty sad to me because we were actually expecting a bunch of titles. Like I was hoping for another Jedi Knight game because the gameplay for that last one was pretty amazing.
It's
And
just sad
then
that the story was, lacking.
yeah, and the only you and me have talked about it before, but the offset to that was the gameplay.
Yeah.
'Cause it wasn't like a terrible story in my opinion. It was just like because there wasn't really much of a story. It was like you do missions and then a little bit of story. You do like five set of 5 missions and then there's story. Then you do
Yeah,
another
it
set
was
of
a
5 missions.
five missions, and then it was a story mission, rinse repeat.
Yeah, and then the last one's like you got to choose the ending, which that was pretty cool. The
I also
characters
think
just
that ending, the whole choice thing could be handled better. It's like, by the way, you can either choose to kill this guy or spare him. Now you get to decide. It's like, what?
yeah, it was a little unexpected.
Abrupt.
Yeah, very abrupt.
Hell, the first time I actually got the good ending by accident. I didn't kill him the first time. I wanted to get the good ending first, but I was also holding down the button to switch weapons at the end of the cutscene, so I immediately put my lightsaber away.
Oh.
And the good ending cutscene played. And I was like, whoops.
No, because honestly, I feel like that game was like a perfect basis for whatever Star Wars game that they wanted to come up with. If they wanted it to be like lightsaber combat, which it's actually kind of ironic because that game started out as like a Doom clone, but it ended up being like the best, in my opinion, lightsaber combat game of all time.
What was the first was first Dark Forces was a Doom clone. The second was I think it was a Quake engine game. And then it just basically they kept using the Quake engine for Jedi Outcast and Academy,
Yeah,
which worked. I mean, the games are really fun to play, especially with Outcast with its great story, and Kyle Katarn is basically one of the best characters in that. I guess the Legacy universe or whatever they call it, the Legends
Legends.
universe. Yeah,
Yeah, Legends. Yeah, I just wish we would have seen more of him. Outside the video games.
and the books he appeared in.
Yeah, because I mean he was in there a little bit, but like I I mean there's also a lot of even Lando isn't in them as much as you would have thought, but he did get his own trilogy at least, so that's always a good thing.
Yeah.
I mean Han Solo got 2 trilogies. One of them's a little bit weird, but I enjoyed it. The other one it's so amazing. But anyways, back to the gaming. I guess now is actually a good time to segue into, well, I mean, we've already been talking about it, but it's like what is actually going on with Star Wars? I mean, we're kind of in this time where, everything's really dead, gaming's been kind of quiet, TV shows quiet.
Well,
I
with the start of the new console generation, it's gonna be loud for a little bit. Then it's gonna quiet down until the big heavy hitters really come out. Even though we have had a few with Watch Dogs Legion, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Miles Morales, and then Xbox having like nothing except for Watch
yeah,
Dogs Legion and freaking Valhalla. I mean, they have really nothing.
we have Gears of War.
I guess Gears Tactics. I assume it's a tactics game. I just don't really care about those.
I think they're just kind of relying on the Game Pass at this point because the thing is, it's like if they open their eyes, they could use Rare to, they could have Rare.
All to win the console generation, all they need to do is announce a new Banjo game or a new Conquer game, and
Yeah,
boom, they've just sold a lot of Xboxes.
because I feel like the answer is like it's right there. They just don't do it, and I'm like, why?
Well, we say it's easy by our perspective, but they would have to do a lot of stuff to get it, and to get a game made right now, or at least get a game started, even to the announce point would be very difficult.
It would, but at the same time, like there's a lot of stuff coming out. I don't. It would be difficult, a lot more difficult than it would in a normal time. But I
Mm-hmm.
do think like at least having some exclusive, like what you just said, come out with another Banjo or Conquer, because like we already talked about this, I think on the last podcast, that like Halo is faded in
Halo
popularity.
really, Halo is really, other than Gears, Halo is the only killer app that the Xbox has, and it's not nearly as relevant as it used to be.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
trying to be with Halo Infinite, and who knows? It could. I would like Halo Infinite to be, really good, but we can't tell.
I would love for it to be good. I would love to make Halo great again. I would love for people to be talking about it because like I said, that's my favorite FPS, especially multiplayer wise. I mean, campaign wise, it was pretty solid till the fourth one. But
Till the fourth one
like
put me to sleep. Speaking of the fourth one, they added that to Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary for PC. And in other words, let's move on. Because the less we say about Halo 4, the better.
yeah, dude, talking about Halo 4 just made me yawn. But but yeah, anyways, we should get back to like what was going on with Star Wars. Like it's pretty dead.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's talking about like fan theories. Like I googled stuff and because I'm trying to figure out. I'm like, all right, what should we talk about on the podcast today? And it's like a bunch of fan theories and like a bunch of irrelevant stuff. I mean, today there's a little bit more about the Mandalorian. People were talking about the story details, but I haven't seen anything about the next season's release date. I
It's
mean,
probably held up. I believe one of the people, got the crap going on. So I think probably one of them got sick. So basically, probably about what you'd expect.
okay, so there is a season two. Actually, it did just drop.
Oh, okay. For I haven't been on. I have actually Disney Plus on. I just haven't been on it in a couple of days.
It's
I think
funny though.
about a week.
There's so many memes of people just saying I only have Disney Plus for the Mandalorian.
I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, the Marvel movies are on there.
So I feel like some people might be getting tired of those a little bit. I mean, I feel like because of the creation of the MCU, there was actually a pretty decent like resurgence of people saying like or people just getting interested in it again. But before that, like I remember everybody was just like tired of seeing superhero movies for a while because it was just generic and it was just the same stuff. It didn't really connect.
I still love Avengers 1. It's still one of my favorite movies. Which is just a great action movie.
I need to
Like,
watch.
I would say Avengers 1 is, one of my favorite movies. Avengers 2 is good. I still really like it. And then, Infinity War is fantastic, and Endgame is really good. I think, when you get past the When you get to the final fight scene, it's just amazing.
My personal interest in the Marvel stuff was always more towards like the Netflix stuff. So I mean, that's kind of dead right now, unfortunately. And it's sad though because like that had its own fan base. It wasn't doing terrible. It was actually doing like pretty good. Like everybody, it was mostly critically acclaimed. Uh, like The Punisher, The Daredevil.
I
uh,
knew when I heard that Disney was starting to do their own streaming service, I knew that the Punisher was not going to be on it because you can't really put the Punisher on a service like Disney Plus.
I think they could, honestly, because I mean it's still, I mean, yeah, it was a Netflix property, but it's still a Marvel property at the end of the day.
Well, I'm talking about the violence and everything.
But even then, I still don't see why that would be an issue. I think if anything, they plan on moving it to Disney. I think they plan on moving all of that to Disney Plus eventually.
I heard a lot of it was just flat out canceled.
For the moment, I mean, the thing
It
is,
would be
there's
nice if
interest in
some of
it.
those came back, but it has been a few years since they canceled the stuff, though.
Well, the thing is though too, there's interest in a want for it. So
Yeah,
I'm
I
not.
just don't. I wouldn't really hold my breath on it, though.
I'm hoping that it does happen. I mean, they'd be foolish not to, because think about it. That would be even more reason to go to Disney Plus. And that guy Bob Iger, like all he sees is dollar signs. So, I mean, that's the whole reason. So, that's the whole
I
reason
don't
why
know.
he was pushing out like so many Star Wars movies. And he came out and admitted it. He was like, "Yeah, we just kind of,
Went
dropped one every
movie
year."
by movie, basically. Yeah, they went one movie at a time, not thinking of an overarching story, and that's why we got the movies we got, which, to be honest, isn't surprising.
No one bit.
And it's sad because we could have had, another great trilogy, but I just think you
It was
were
clouded.
trying way too hard to make it, trying to make it like the originals, and it didn't work. Needless
It
to
was
say, it didn't work.
it was clouded by greed. Because I've always said this. Like whenever George Lucas first started, it was all about his vision, right? And he says that a lot. And that's the problem with the new canon is that there's no vision, there's no control. It's just like, it's just kind of all over the place. I think The Mandalorian is not like that. I actually did enjoy it, like the first few episodes that I saw. I do want to watch more of it. That's the only thing I'm interested in as far as Disney goes.
That's fair.
But
From what I've watched, I haven't. I watched a few episodes. I just haven't, got the chance to really sit down and binge watch it as I should have. What the hell?
yeah, you should, especially since you have Disney Plus.
Yeah, it's just the way I've been busy for the last couple of months.
Yeah, it happens. Yeah, but their whole thing, it was just like clouded by greed, and that's like part of the reason why. I mean, it shows in the quality too. Bob Iger's funny. He's been saying he's gonna retire for a while. He might by the end of this year, but I read something saying that like he's gonna step down from being CEO and now he wants to directly manage Star Wars, like the creative aspect of it. I'm just like, me personally, I don't think that's a good sign because I still think that he just sees like dollar signs. I think that's all he sees.
Well, Star Wars has been, it always has been, always will be a cash cow,
Yeah, but whenever it's
except if your name is Solo.
yeah. But see, the thing is like that is all, good and fine. The problem is whenever that is the incentive and that's not just like, the the effect of, all them releasing all that product because, like the old, under the old guard, they actually wanted to tell a story as opposed to just, crap out.
Just making money.
Yeah.
Which that is always the hope that the creators will have passionate and see the full potential of what they're making instead of just getting it out the door to make another dollar.
Yeah, and that's whenever you have a problem, and that's been evident, like with the new trilogy and everything. So I mean, Bob Iger. I mean, I guess at the end of the day, I can't really say that I care, but I don't think that it's necessarily like a good thing. But actually, there was a point that I was trying to get onto that I want to talk about that I just read today. So Alan Dean Foster. he ghost wrote episode 4. He also wrote the Force Awakens novelization, and then he wrote a couple other books for Star Wars too. I think he may have written The Splinter of the Mind's Eye, and then some other Clone Wars era book. So what he's saying is that they're not paying him the royalties that he's owed, and I'm pretty sure that he means contractually, like they are supposed to give him royalties for. I mean, they don't give out specific details, but I'm pretty sure he's saying is for either the novelizations or all the stuff that he's worked on, basically.
Yeah. That is something he will have to probably take to the court.
If he does, I mean, because in reality it's Disney, and Disney's gotten copyright laws changed. So I don't think he would even win that if he tried.
Well, I think that would be his best bet, and instead of just yelling, and he just take it to court, and hopefully he can get it settled.
I mean, I hope he does. I mean, I really do, because Disney does a lot of shady stuff.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie about that. And
like the firing and hiring directors, hiring everybody. Did you hear about Carrie Fisher's life insurance policy?
No, I didn't.
So what happened with that was they got money because of her death. They got like $1 million or $50 million. Well, I mean, that's a huge difference. I think they got $50 million because she died.
Shouldn't that have went to the family?
That's right. That's exactly what any normal, reasonable person with a conscience would think. But no matter what your opinion of Disney or Star Wars or whatever is, I don't think that you can just say that is not, and the very least, shady. Like,
yeah, that's a little strange.
Very strange. It leads me to some other theories that I'm not going to mention on here. But no, yeah, it's very strange. And so, oh yes, back to Alan Dean Foster. He also said that Disney was going to bring him in. I'm pretty sure it's to probably renegotiate his contract. But what they wanted him to do was sign a non-disclosure agreement that he cannot talk about what happened in that conversation. I'm just like, Disney is playing so many just bad games.
They seem to be playing a game that a lot of their fans and stuff don't want to see them play.
Yeah.
And that could be, quite scary for a lot of the fans. I mean, to be fair, I would rather them just stick with what they've been known for a long time.
Yeah, and I think these things absolutely do need to be talked about. It's an issue. Like, Disney owns so many things. They own ESPN. They own like half of Hulu, and
they own Fox.
Yeah, they own Fox. They own like so many things, and I'm just like, they almost got a goddamn monopoly. Dude, they're probably. I wouldn't be surprised if they're eventually gonna own like Microsoft or something. You know what I mean? Like they're just that big. I mean, maybe not literally Microsoft, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Like I think this is a genuine problem, and then for somebody that big to be doing so many shady things that it's not even like it's not like classified or like this is things out in the open, but nobody's talking about this. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And me personally, I got an issue with that. But I just hope that I don't foresee it happening. But I do hope that Alan Dean Foster at least stops getting wronged.
Well, they shape up and actually do what is right and pay him what he needs.
Yeah, exactly. That is exactly what I hope for him.
Because at the end of the day, it's just they need to if the guy worked for his if he worked for it, he should get the money.
I mean, he was there at the beginning. Whenever we're talking, he was living in a bungalow, and I forget where, but he wasn't like fancy living. Like I'm pretty sure he's got it good now. Because think about it, because this guy, he's written novelizations. I mean, he's like a big sci-fi author, but he's written like Alien, Terminator, Star Wars, Star Trek, and like a whole bunch of other things. He's even got his own original stuff as well. On top of that, Transformers.
That's good.
So this is a big name author.
Well, hopefully you can get that taken care of.
I sure hope so too. But
Everything's just at a standstill, other than the new console generation and everything. I mean, IO Interactive is making a James Bond game. That's got me a little excited because
oh
I can't
yeah,
think of another company that is more qualified than the people who made the Hitman games with their practically freaking James Bond games, except you're not an agent, you're just a hitman.
yeah.
I can't think of a more qualified freaking company than that.
Actually, I would be interested in getting that too. That sounds like it's promising.
Yeah, it sounds promising. I just hope that it's not a game we hear about and then it's quietly canceled in the background.
Dude, I hate when that happens because I think the games that in recent history that I've wanted to play the most are are the ones that have been canceled.
Looking at you, 1313.
Oh, don't even mention that one. I'm gonna start crying, dude.
It's 1313. Keep on the Star Wars motif. Battlefront 3. Um,
First Assault or whatever that one was. The one that looks like a Call of Duty but in Star Wars.
yeah, I think that's
It was something Assault, but not, dude. Knights of the Republic 3. Like I don't know. It's hard not to get frustrated just thinking about those types of things. It genuinely is just because it's like
there's a lot of games that there's a lot of games we don't even know about. I'm sure there are Star Wars games and just games in general we would have loved to play, but are just canceled. Not like they're like, hey, let's make this, and then down the line it just becomes too ambitious, or the, something goes wrong and they just cancel it.
but
There's a
it's
lot of games we don't know about that just get canceled.
absolutely some that never make the light of day. Like that
Mm-hmm.
you just straight up don't even hear about. But you know what the other sad part too about this is the fact that it's not like you don't have people like, dude, anybody worth their salt would want to work on a Star Wars game, would want to write a Star Wars story, which it actually, putting that in perspective, and I don't blame Bob Iger completely, for wanting to get involved on the creative side of Star Wars because who does not want to?
Oh
But
yeah,
you know, anyone that is worth their salt would definitely want to create a Star Wars game. So it's just like, why don't you just let it happen? Just let it. Like it's not like you're not losing anything. I mean, because at the very least, even if the game fails, people are gonna buy it just because it has Star Wars on it. At the very
yeah,
least.
yeah. You could get people. One of my favorite quotes was, I cannot remember who said it at the time, but no matter if you're making a game for, it's the same thing. It appeals to movies and books as well. That if you're making a game, always assume it's going to be a player's first time into that universe or anything. And you could get people into Star Wars with just one game. I'm sure as you know as ultimately middle of the road Force or Fallen Order is sometimes. I'm sure it got people into playing Star Wars or into Star Wars because of it.
Absolutely. And there's games that are like it might not even be the first in that series, but you can still like start off with that game without having to
Yeah,
like actually play the game before. I mean, granted, it's always you probably will know you'll be more well informed on the state of the universe, but it's not like it's necessarily required.
yeah.
You,
Um
you can still enjoy the story
and
either
Force
way.
Awakens does a good job of that, where there's a lot of callbacks to things you probably wouldn't understand, like at the beginning, there's clones and stuff, and in that respect, yeah, it doesn't. But there's still a lot of, it explains enough of what it needs to explain.
Yeah, and I especially feel like that is the case with Knights of the Republic too, because like they go over the stuff in the beginning, and actually, I mean, you choose what happens. Which
Oh yeah,
I was a kid playing the game, so I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, yeah, sure, Revan was a woman that went to the dark side. Those are like the default options. So I was like, okay, yeah, it's pretty cool. That's just the uniqueness of it all.
yeah. It's one of those. Well, is the default the actual dark side ending of Knights of the Republic one?
I mean, it's not the canon, but like if you just go with the first option, it's gonna say like in Knights of the Republic 2.
Became evil, then she lost her memory, then she became evil again.
Yeah, because the first option is like because he says something about Revan being a woman, and then the first option for your character to choose is like, yeah, I heard she went to Korriban or whatever, and then he's like, women they're pretty crazy, and then he's like, oh, like the first option's like just basically agrees with them, and the second one's like, no, I heard that she went back to the Jedi or whatever. I can't remember, but something like that. But either way, it's pretty cool.
It's been so long since I mean, I need to play through Knights of the Republic 1 and 2 again, seeing as I just fucking rebought them on GOG just about 2 weeks ago.
I might buy them on GOG just so because I mean I can run it on this laptop, and I love modding things. I got it on the Xbox, but it kind of gets dull not playing the restored content mod after a while. I just wish they would find a way to port it over to Xbox one way or another. That would be
I know
genius.
the Xbox One versions are, it has all the DLC of at least the first one does.
I think, as far as I know, the only real DLC is the Yavin mission.
Yeah, which it's not much, but at least it's something.
I've never played that though, I've always wanted
I
to.
I did on PC years ago.
Yeah, I
That was
like.
also years ago.
Yeah, I never played that, but I've always because growing up, I would always get on YouTube and I would always see like people modding it and playing all these like cool things. And then one thing that I always love seeing in video games, especially whenever I played it over and over again, is just hearing new dialogue options or seeing new things. Like
Oh yeah.
it just makes the game more fun for me, sometimes even if it's a mod. But as is the case with the restored content mod, because there's like a lot of dialogue you never heard before, and just a bunch of other stuff. It's cool.
Yeah.
Anyways, I guess we could always talk about what's your plans for the holidays.
Sit on my ass and do nothing.
Yeah,
Pray to God the Cyberpunk comes out and play it that week I'm off.
yeah, really. I hope that shit comes out. Yeah, I don't even know what I'm about to do for this upcoming holiday. I probably won't be eating turkey.
Oh, I
I'll
will
be eating
be.
something. I mean, I'll be eating good. I can tell you that much right now. This whole year's kind of sucked for everybody, but it's time around that time of the holidays. So, no matter what you're going through right now, I just hope that you can keep your head up and just have a little bit of that holiday spirit.
Oh yeah.
To anybody that's listening.
Yeah, the all two of you.
Yeah.
I hope everyone has a great holiday. Everyone deserves it after this year.
It's been a rough year. I don't really like to get like too serious on this podcast, but all I want to say is like you just stick to the people you love and
hang out with the people you love, do the things you like to do, and enjoy the holidays. It's the greatest time of the year, and this year we really need it.
Eat some good turkey, have some good pumpkin pie and whatever it is that you cook. Oh damn, dude! Actually, now that I mentioned that, whenever I was home, I would always go home for Thanksgiving or Christmas.
Yeah.
I would normally get it around Christmas time, but my great grandma, she would always make this like cranberry cake, and I'm like, dude, this is the best shit ever. Like I love it, and I won't be able to get that this year. That kind of sucks. But I mean, I can't eat sweets anyways right now because I'm on the carnivore diet. But yeah.
What were you saying?
No, that was it.
I am eating the most. My mom makes some of the best pumpkin pie ever. And if we're not talking about desserts, the mashed potatoes we make, it basically is like it's normal made mashed potatoes with the skin, but also has bacon in it.
Ooh, that sounds delicious. Actually,
yeah. I
We've
can't
made
remember
that
the
before.
exact recipe because I don't usually make it. My mom does. I think I'm making it this year. I think she's gonna actually show me how to make it this year. Because I'm doing pretty much about 99% of the stuff, which I'm fine with. and I just cannot wait to have that stuff. We made it about 6-7 months ago. She made a thing for a family member, some food for a family member, and I had a little bit of it, and it was amazing.
Sounds like y'all's eating good down there. I wish I was there.
Just sneak away, come up here.
Yeah. Just let me catch. Let me take a boat down there. Hey guys, I'll be back next week. No,
Boat, plane, and a car, unless she's planning on walking.
I'd have to swim across the ocean, so that would be fun to figure out. But yeah,
I'm sure you figure it out somehow.
that'd be cool. But nah, yeah, I'm just gonna try to invite some people over, and hopefully we'll have a good Thanksgiving lunch or whatever. I don't even really know what to cook. I don't know. I'm like still trying to figure that out. I'm trying to figure everything out. I don't even know what I'm doing for that. And then as for Christmas, I don't even know what I'm doing. But all I know is either way, I'm gonna find a way to live life and have fun and keep a smile on my face. And I hope everybody listening to this podcast does the same.
Oh yeah.
So that is my piece on that. All right, viewers. Well, thank you for tuning in to the Lethal Nonsense podcast. It is your host, Tristen and Lance, signing off. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you're listening to this on YouTube, and share as well. This is Lance and Tristen signing off.
Later.